Throughout history, humanity has been captivated by the mysteries of the ancient past. Among these mysteries, mummies stand out as eerie remnants of civilization long gone. These preserved bodies, often associated with Egypt, have fascinated and terrified people for centuries. But some mummies are far from ordinary. Found in strange, unsettling positions, these preserved remains have left archaeologists, historians, and even the general public in awe and fear. Prepare to be intrigued and unsettled as we dive into the creepiest mummies ever discovered in strange positions. The Screaming Woman Mummy. Among the many uncanny discoveries of ancient times, few are as haunting as the Screaming Woman mummy found in 1935 at Deir el-Bahari, near Luxor, Egypt. Unearthed in a wooden coffin beneath the family tomb of a high-ranking official, this mummy stunned archaeologists with its unusual posture. Her mouth was agape, frozen in what appeared to be a scream, making her one of the most enigmatic figures of ancient Egypt's New Kingdom period, 1500 BC. What caused this agonized expression? Recent research, including advanced CT scans, offers some possibilities. Cairo University radiologist Sahar Salim led a study that revealed the woman had approximately 48 years of muscular stiffening triggered by extreme physical or emotional distress at the moment of death. Unlike rigor mortis, which affects the whole body after death, cadaveric spasm impacts only specific muscle groups. The startling condition could explain why her face was frozen in such a dramatic pose. Adding to the intrigue, this mummy was embalmed with precision using premium materials such as juniper oil and frankincense resin, signaling her status. Gold and silver rings with scarab beetle engravings, a symbol of resurrection, were found in her, further highlighting her wealth. However, despite her meticulous preservation, her internal organs, typically removed during mummification, remained intact. The deviation from tradition coupled with her unsettling facial expression has left researchers puzzled. While some speculated whether she might have been embalmed alive, this theory has been dismissed as improbable. Instead, the open mouth and pained visage suggest she died in agony, potentially from a fatal trauma or an undiagnosed medical condition. The true circumstances surrounding her death remain a mystery, adding to her legacy as one of the most perplexing ancient mummies ever found. The roped mummy of Cajamarquilla. One of the most fascinating and unexpected archaeological finds in recent years took place in Cajamarquilla, Peru, just 25 kilometers inland from the capital city of Lima. A team of researchers from the National University of San Marcos unearthed a mummy estimated to be between 800 and 1,200 years old, carefully preserved in an underground tomb located in the middle of a town square. This mummy was discovered bound with ropes and positioned with its hands covering its face, a striking and deliberate arrangement. Researchers identified this as a funerary tradition form of southern Peru, practiced in the Hispanic times before the rise of the Inca civilization. The position likely held symbolic significance, representing humility, reverence, or spiritual protection for the deceased's passage into the afterlife. Upon examination, archaeologists determined the mummy to be a young man aged 25 and 30 years old, believed to have migrated from the Andean mountains to Cajamarquilla. This city was once a bustling commercial hub for the pre-Columbian era, making it a crossroads for trade, culture, and influence. What set this discovery apart was the surroundings found near the tomb. Despite being inland, marine mollusks were placed outside the burial site, an unusual offering given the tomb's distance from the coast. This, along with llama bones, commonly consumed by people of the time, indicated that descendants of the deceased likely returned over many years to conduct rituals and leave food offerings. The location and elaborate nature of the burial suggest the individual was no ordinary citizen, but someone of significant importance within their community. Researchers theorize that this person could have been a leading trader or a figure of high social status, as evidenced by their placement in the town square, a focal point of communal life. The discovery shows the enduring cultural practices and traditions of pre-Hispanic societies, emphasizing how death and the afterlife were deeply interwoven with the living community. The careful preservation of the mummy and the accompanying offerings reflect a profound respect for ancestors, spiritual beliefs, and social structure. Archaeologists plan to conduct further specialized analyses, including carbon dating, to narrow down the exact period when the individual lived. These studies aim to uncover more details about this person's identity, their role in society, and the ritual that surrounded their burial. Tollund, a 2,400-year-old enigma. In 1959, a family in Denmark's Bjælskovdal bog made an astonishing discovery that would ignite centuries of fascination. What they first believed to be a recent murder victim turned out to be a man who'd been dead for over 2,400 years. Now known as the Tollund Man, his story has captivated scientists and historians, drawing us into a deep mystery that lingers today. Standing at 5 feet 3 inches and estimated to be between 30 and 40 years old at the time of his death, the Tollund Man was found in a curled, sleeping position with a noose around his neck. It's clear he was hanged, but the reason behind his death was elusive. Was he a victim of ritual sacrifice, a criminal who met a brutal end, or perhaps a casualty of a deeper societal conflict? The Iron Age, the time when the Tollund lived, was a period of profound transformation where villages thrived, farming flourished, and complex religious rituals were deeply rooted in daily life. The bogs of Jutland were seen as gateways to the divine, used for offerings to the gods, from food and weapons to, occasionally, human sacrifices. Tollund Man's body is preserved thanks to the peat bog's unique conditions. Its acidic waters and lack of oxygen created a natural preservation chamber, preventing his body from decaying for millennia. Though his attire was minimal, only a leather cap and belt, his last meal, a mix of barley, flax, wild seeds, and fish, has revealed much about his diet. Surprisingly, there were no signs of hallucinogens or medicinal plants that could indicate a ritual sacrifice, which sets him apart from other similar discoveries. Despite decades of research, the Tollund Man's body has experienced its own mystery. Parts of him were lost for years. A search, fueled by new technologies, eventually led to the recovery of most of his remains, but the final pieces, his internal organs and his right big toe, remained elusive until the 1980s. Today, the Tollund is displayed in the Silkeborg Museum, a silent reminder of the ancient rituals, societal practices, and a past we are still working to understand. The mysterious child mummies of Llullaillaco. High in the Andes, the Llullaillaco volcano in Argentina became the final resting place for 3 children who were sacrificed by the Inca Empire over 500 years ago. The mummies, discovered in 1999, are some of the best preserved human remains ever found, and their story offers an extraordinary glimpse into Inca religious practices. The practice of child sacrifice, known as capacocha, was a vital component of the Inca religion. It was believed that the offering of children to the gods could ensure prosperity, a bountiful harvest, and protection from calamities. These children, selected for their physical perfection, were often sons and daughters of nobles and local rulers. They were then transported to Cusco, the Inca capital, to undergo purification rituals before embarking on a long journey to high mountaintops, where they would meet their fate. Among these children found at Llullaillaco, the most famous are La Doncella, the maiden, La Niña del Rayo, the lightning girl, and El Niño, the boy. The conditions in which they were preserved were almost miraculous. The cold, dry environment of the high-altitude tombs, combined with their quick freezing, allowed their bodies to remain remarkably intact, with organs and even blood preserved. La Doncella, the maiden. The oldest of the 3, La Doncella, was about 13 years old at the time of her death. She was dressed in fine garments, including a braided hairdo and a feather-adorned headdress. A bacterial infection was found in her lungs, but other than that, her body was extraordinarily well preserved. La Doncella is believed to be an Akala, or Sun Virgin, a young woman chosen at a tender age to love among other girls who were meant to be priestesses, royal wives, or sacrifices. Her death was seen as a great honor, an offering to the gods in hopes of ensuring a good harvest and favorable weather. La Niña del Rayo, the lightning girl. Around 6 years old, La Niña del Rayo was also sacrificed. Her body tells a story of a life that ended tragically. A lightning strike struck her body after her death, leaving scars on her face and shoulder. Wrapped in blankets and dressed in traditional clothing, she had her skull intentionally elongated, a practice common among the Inca elite. Unlike La Doncella, her treatment was not as meticulous, but she was still part of the sacred sacrifice ritual that was central to the Inca religious beliefs. El Niño, the boy. El Niño was wrapped between 4 and 5 years old at the time of his sacrifice. His body was tightly wrapped, with signs that he had suffered under great stress before his death. Vomit and blood were found on his clothing, and his body had signs of being tied up, indicating he may have died from suffocation. His skeletal structure showed signs of trauma, including dislocated ribs and pelvis. El Niño's tomb also contained small ritual objects, including representations of Ilmas, which were central to the Inca civilization. This child was believed to be watching over the land from his mountaintop tomb, fulfilling his role as a sacred offering to the gods. The Princess of Ukok. What secrets lie frozen in time? In 1993, archaeologists uncovered the Princess of Ukok, also known as the Serbian Maiden, buried on a remote plateau near the Russian-Chinese border. A 2,400-year-old mummy, preserved by the freezing waters of her tomb, offers a haunting glimpse into the life, death, and culture of the Pazyryk people, a nomadic tribe of the Scythians. The discovery was nothing short of jaw-dropping. The Ice Maiden, dressed in an exotic silk blouse, woolen skirt, and stockings, was laid to rest in a large wooden coffin surrounded by severed heads of size horses facing east. Her wooden headpiece, adorned with animal carvings, added to the mystery. But who was she? A shaman? A priestess? A noblewoman? Her tattoo depicting sacred animals suggested a role in her society, but that wasn't all. Researchers found a pouch of cannabis among her belongings, perhaps used for rituals or pain relief. And speaking of pain, modern scans revealed she likely suffered from advanced breast cancer. Combined with injuries from a fall, it's believed she endured immense suffering before her death. But the mysteries don't stop there. DNA testing confirmed she was of European descent, and grave goods, including Chinese silk and a bronze mirror, hinted at vast trade networks and cultural exchanges. This wasn't just any burial, it was an elite send-off into the afterlife complete with sacrifices and rich offerings. Today, the Princess of Ukok rests in the Republican National Museum in Gorno-Altaysk, Russia. Her preserved remains and haunting story continue to captivate the world, connecting us to an ancient past filled with rituals, artistry, and mysteries we may never fully unravel. The mystery of the fetus in the bishop's coffin. Imagine uncovering a centuries-old secret hidden within the coffin of one of the best-preserved mummies. That's exactly what researchers at Lund University in Sweden discovered while studying Bishop Peter Winstrup, who died in 1679. Beneath his mattress lay a tiny bundle wrapped in linen cloth, a stillborn fetus. But why was it there? Through DNA testing and meticulous analysis, experts uncovered a shocking connection. The child was likely to be the bishop's grandson. The fetus, a boy estimated to have been 5-6 months old, shared 25% of its DNA with Winstrup. With a Y chromosome match but different maternal lineages, the relationship was determined to be on the father's side. Historical records paint a compelling narrative. The bishop's son, Peter Peterson, led a troubled life, failing to carry on his father's legacy and losing the family estate. The symbolic placement of the fetus in the coffin may have been an act of redemption, a poignant acknowledgement of the family's tragic end. His remarkably preserved body continues to be a true treasure for researchers. From his perfectly intact organs to groundbreaking revelations about 17th century life and disease, his remains serve as a unique time capsule. Scotland's Frankenstein mummies. Buried deep on the sands of time lies a chilling discovery. 3,000-year-old mummies from Scotland's Clad Hallan village, revealed to be Frankenstein-like creations. But why were they made? And what secrets do they hold? At first glance, these mummies seemed like typical bog bodies, naturally preserved in the acidic peat bogs of South Uist. But as scientists dug deeper, they uncovered a spine-tingling twist. These bodies weren't whole. Each was a composite, pieced together from the remains of at least 6 different people. The male mummy, a patchwork of bones from the individuals who lived years apart. The female mummy, built from parts of 4 unrelated individuals, none sharing the same maternal lineage. Imagine discovering that these weren't just ancestors. They were creations stitched together in a bizarre ancient ritual. The peat bog, with its acidic, oxygen-poor environment, halted decay. However, these bodies didn't stay in the bogs forever. They were removed before the bones could dissolve, leaving behind perfectly preserved skeletons. But why did Bronze Age villagers go through the trouble of preserving, disassembling, and reconstructing these mummies? One theory suggests that mummies were symbolic ancestors, blending the traits of multiple lineages into one figure. This could have been a way to unify the community under a shared heritage. Others argue the merging may have been practical. If parts of a mummy decayed or detached, Villagers might have replaced them to complete the body. These mummies might have been created to physically represent spiritual ideals, ensuring that no single identity took precedence over the collective. This wasn't a one-time phenomenon. Cultures like the Chinchorro people of South America also reconstructed mummies, using materials like sticks and animal skins to maintain their form. It seems ancient civilizations shared a fascination with preserving and reconstructing their dead. Scientists believe there could be more Frankenstein-like mummies waiting to be uncovered. With advancements in DNA technology, archaeologists are now better equipped to solve mysteries like this. But the dilemma of sampling ancient remains poses challenges. Ata the tiny skeleton. In 2003, deep in Chile's Atacama desert, a discovery sent shockwaves around the globe. A 6-inch skeleton with a cone-shaped skull and only 10 pairs of ribs was unearthed in the abandoned mining town of La Noria. Nicknamed Ata, this bizarre figure looked like something out of a sci-fi movie, alien life, a secret government experiment. The theories were endless. But when scientists got their hands on Ata's DNA, the truth turned out to be far more tragic and far more human than anyone expected. Wrapped in a white cloth tied with a violet ribbon, Ata's tiny mummified body seemed too strange to be real. Her bones looked like they belonged to that of a 6-year-old child, but she was barely the size of a pen. Add to her elongated skull, and it's no surprise people thought she was extraterrestrial. For years, Ata's story fueled documentaries, sparked alien conspiracies, and became a viral sensation. But the real question remained: what was she? In 2018, scientists from Stanford University and the University of California finally cracked the case. After extracting DNA from Ata's bone, they revealed that Ata was 100% human, a baby girl to be exact. She carried 7 genetic mutations linked to severe skeletal deformities. She suffered from a condition called congenital diaphragmatic hernia, which made survival impossible. Ata's bone appeared unusually advanced for her age, and her size was the result of these rare mutations, not alien origin. Ata's tragic story began decades before her discovery. Scientists believed she was stillborn or died shortly after birth, unable to survive her severe deformity. Her remains, preserved in the arid desert, were later sold as a curiosity to collectors, becoming the center of alien speculation for years. Ata wasn't an alien, she was human. But behind her story reminds us how easily the truth can be buried beneath myths and sensational headlines. But behind the mystery was a real child, a life lost too soon, and a window into secrets of our own biology. The Spirit Cave Mummy. Buried in mystery and preserved by time, the Spirit Cave Mummy stands as proof of the ancient history of North America. Discovered in 1940 by archaeologists Sidney and Georgia Wheeler, this partially mummified body, found near Fallon, Nevada, sparked decades of intrigue and research. Its story, intertwined with science, culture, and indigenous heritage, offers a fascinating glimpse into humanity. While surveying for archaeological sites threatened by guano mining, the Wheelers stumbled upon the Spirit Cave in Stillwater Mountain. Inside, they uncovered 2 sets of human remains wrapped in tule matting. One set, later named the Spirit Cave Mummy, was partially mummified, with the head and shoulder preserved. The body was dressed in moccasins and a rabbit skin blanket, a reminder of ancient burial customs. Alongside the remains, 67 artifacts were recovered, including tools and textiles, providing insight into the lives of these early inhabitants. Initially, these remains were thought to be between 1,500 and 2,000 years old, a significant finding at that time. In 1996, advanced radiocarbon dating using mass spectrometry shattered initial assumptions. The Spirit Cave Mummy was revealed to be a staggering 9,400 years old, making it the oldest known mummy in North America. Researchers estimate the individual's death occurred around 7420 BC, offering a rare and invaluable window into the Paleo-American period. The discovery drew national attention but also raised complex questions about the ownership and cultural significance of the remains. In 1997, the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe claimed cultural affiliation under the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. Legal battles ensued for nearly 2 decades. With early studies struggling to establish a definitive link, advances in DNA analysis provided groundbreaking results. In 2015, S.K. Villeslev, a renowned geneticist, collected bones and tooth samples from the remains with the tribe's permission. DNA sequencing revealed that the Spirit Cave mummy shared genetic similarities with indigenous groups in North and South America. On November 22, 2016, after years of scientific exploration and legal disputes, the remains were repatriated to the Falan Paiute Shoshone tribe. The tribe reburied their ancestor in 2008, marking the end of a journey that began nearly 10,000 years ago. The pregnant mummy. A revelation from the ancient world has captivated archaeologists and history enthusiasts alike. Polish scientists from the Warsaw Mummy Project have uncovered the only embalmed pregnant Egyptian mummy, a find that shed new light on ancient practices. Initially believed to be a male priest named Jehuti, the mummy has resided in the National Museum in Warsaw since 1826. Inscriptions on its sarcophagus and coffin reinforced this assumption, but advanced scanning technology unraveled a far more intriguing story. In 2001, researchers identified the remains as belonging to a woman aged between 20 and 30 who lived during the 1st century BC. But the most astonishing detail? She was in the later stages of pregnancy with a fetus between 26 and 30 weeks old. The mysterious lady, as researchers have dubbed her, was carefully embalmed, suggesting that she held a high status. Alongside her remains, scientists discovered at least 15 items, including the mummy-shaped amulets associated with the 4 sons of Horus, protectors of internal organs. Interestingly, the fetus was not removed from the womb, a typical Egyptian mummification. Experts speculate this may have been due to the spiritual beliefs about the afterlife or the physical challenges of extracting it. Takabuti mummy. For over 2 centuries, the secrets of Takabuti, a 25th dynasty Egyptian woman, remained hidden. Housed at the Ulster Museum in Belfast, her mummified body perplexed researchers until recent advancements revealed the truth about her ultimate death. Takabuti was no ordinary woman. Born to a priestly class, she lived in comfort and wealth. Her preserved mummy reflected her high status, with her heart embalmed and reinserted, a preparation for the judgment of the afterlife. Her most striking feature was her natural reddish blonde hair. Unlike most Egyptians, who shaved their heads to avoid lice and wore wigs, Takabuti kept her hair styled and intact. Analysis revealed that her head had been freshly cut, curled, and set with an early form of hair gel before she was buried. Takabuti ancestry added another layer of riddle. In 2020, genetic analysis revealed that she belonged to the rare H4A1 haplogroup, a lineage that had never been identified in ancient Egyptian remains. The haplogroup is associated with a mixture of African, European, and Asian ancestry, highlighting the multicultural nature of Egypt during her time. For years, Takabuti's cause of death was unknown. Early CT scans revealed no signs of illness or trauma, leaving her fate a mystery. However, subsequent examinations revealed a shocking discovery. She had been stabbed from behind with an axe. The wound, located on her back near her ribs, was consistent with a weapon commonly used by both Assyrian invaders and Egyptian soldiers. This attack was swift and fatal, suggesting Takabuti was betrayed, perhaps even by someone within her own ranks. Her mummification process aimed to conceal the violence. Embalmers packed the wounds with linens and resin to restore her body's appearance, a practice also seen in other high-profile victims of ancient violence such as Pharaoh Sekenenre Ta II. Takabuti's reconstructed face, imbued with European features, carried a somber expression, a reflection, perhaps, of her tragic end. Yet her story goes beyond her death. We have come to the end of today's video. Which one of the creepy mummies have you ever heard of, and which one was more intriguing to you? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Until next time.